But don't rely on love and blessings from above. It needs a little help on earth. Marriages are made in heaven, and heaven knows their worth. But never just decide that heaven will provide. Give a little help on earth. Sometimes the road is hard and long. Life seems all work, no play. Somehow your dreams have all gone wrong.
The marriage made in heaven seems so far away.
Marriages are made in heaven, but each must help his own. Just learn to give and take, and then one day you'll make a heaven just like Darby and Joan.
In our village, we carry on a tradition established in the reign of Henry VI. Each year, before a judge and jury, a public trial is held of any couple who can prove that they have passed a year of unmarred married bliss. To the successful claimants, the court awards a flitch of bacon. We Honeycrofts are something of an authority on this ancient custom, and have always seen it through without a hitch, until last year, when the Tophams took a hand.
Chester, come in. Chester, you silly dog. Chester. Here's the boy. Here. Morning, Mother.
Morning, dear.
Morning, Father.
Morning.
Got your war paint on again, I see. What is it this time?
I've been nominated for the Flitch Committee.
And you better watch out. The vicar's sister wants your blood.
Oh, not again. I gave a pint last week.
No, darling. I mean, she's getting beady-eyed about you. You know, the green-eyed monster. After all, we are foreigners, you know. Only lived here 15 years, remember?
Truce talks collapse, generals fly back to front.
Fly back to front, whatever for?
To keep the sun out of their eyes.
Oh, by the way, Mother, I got a letter for you, or rather half a letter. Texas had the other half for breakfast.
Oh, he's lucky. He's the only one that's eaten here yet.
Now, what's happened to breakfast?
It's Grandpa's turn.
Oh, crikey. Stand by for Stenders.
If you wake up wishing you'd never been born,
Listen to this. Dear Madam, we are very pleased to be able to tell you that we have obtained from our Austrian branch a Hungarian domestic. She will arrive on the 6:30 p.m. boat train at Victoria, the 7th inst. When is the 7th inst?
Today's the 7th.
Is it inst?
Of course it is.
Might be alt.
How could it be? Out was last month.
So she's really coming. No more indigestion, no more midday pangs, and no more breakfast overcooked by Grandpa. Hip, hip, hooray!
She looks a very nice girl. I hope she won't get lost in London.
Nice girls often do. I'd better meet her myself. I'll go straight from the office.
Well, you better take a look at that. You've got to recognize her on the platform.
Yes, I'd better get an eyeful.
oh,
I say, I've just remembered I have a meeting in the office up until 6:30 tonight. That puts me out.
Oh, what a nuisance, Aubrey. Do stockbrokers really work as late as that?
And sometimes, worse luck.
Stock taking, Mother, darling. Checking all the stock they haven't broken.
You can meet her, Basil.
Not me? All right. Miss Hungry of 1910. Sorry, Father, I shan't have time.
Oh, yes, you will. You leave your office 6-ish, don't you?
Not 6-ish, Father. 6.
Very well, you can meet her. We'll have supper later.
8-ish?
No, 8.
Morning, Marjorie. Morning, dear. Morning, Aubrey.
Now I know why people talk about the servant problem. Take a look at that, Julie.
When you get your own house, you'll know just what it means to have a maid, whatever she looks like.
When we get our own house. Oh, Grimes is still working on the foundations.
Well, that's something.
Yes, but when's he going to finish it?
That depends on when he's going to start it.
Is the place on fire or something?
there. A little overcooked. Now, Jimmy, What do you think of this?
Do you want me to tell you, Grandfather?
No. If you wake up wishing you'd never been born, ask your grocer for wheater corn. See, it's nearly right. Wheater corn, born dawn. Oh, wait, horn. If you wake up hearing the hunting horn, ask your grocer for wheater corn. How's that?
Well, he wouldn't have it hunting with him, would he?
Oh, I don't know. He might, a sort of sandwich form.
These are positively the last kippers to be cremated in this house.
Yeah. What, are the fishermen struck?
No, we have.
Oh.
You won't have to now we've got a maid.
Oh, good. I wonder if she's any good at slogans.
8:43.
Nice filling breakfast, anyway.
Now, Basil, don't forget about the maid. I must dash.
What, are you in the fire brigade, too?
She would be if they asked her to. Funny sort of weather. I think I shall take my umbrella.
Darling, you've taken your umbrella every day for 20 years.
Well, it's been funny sort of weather for 20 years, that's why.
Usual train tonight?
Yes, dear, yes.
I thought you said you'd be late at the office.
No, dear, no. That was last night.
Aubrey,
Goodbye, dear, goodbye.
what is it, dear?
Soft sugar. There's no soft sugar.
I have to have my 11s at 10 when I get to the office.
Never mind, darling. It's my turn to cook breakfast tomorrow.
I say, there's old Grimes' car. He must have struck oil.
If we're not in our own house by Christmas, I'll go mad.
Well, if we aren't in by Christmas, we'll freeze to death.
It's not funny, Basil. I leave you if we have to live with your family much longer. They're very sweet, but one can have too much of a good thing. And one of you's enough.
Yes, well, nobody can pretend we're going to get in tomorrow.
The Topham, sir.
Morning, Mr. Basil. Morning, Mrs. Topham.
Topham of the morning to you, Mr. Grimes. Finished by Christmas?
Not a hope, Mr. Basil.
Ask him when.
When?
No telling, Mr. Basil.
There's no telling, darling.
What I always say is, you can't make bricks without straw.
No, I suppose not.
And there's the timber. As I was saying to Mrs. Grimes last night, they don't seem able to see the wood for the tree.
Don't they?
Then there's the fixtures.
Yeah?
You can get hold of the baths, like, but you don't seem able to get hold of the taps.
Really?
Funny thing, though, last year you could get hold of the taps, but you couldn't get hold of the baths.
Well. Still, things are looking up. It's better to have a bath without taps than taps without a bath. Stop so damp, eh, Mr. Grimes? Cheer up, though. It's a step in the right direction. Eh, Julie? She works in the library. Pretty strict there, you know. Rather like her to be punctual.
Then there's the labor.
Yes, I see it.
As I always say, Rome wasn't built in a day.
No, but I bet it was finished by Christmas. Well, I'm just getting along.
Yes, sir, you don't want to be late at the office.
Oh, any time does for me. I'm my own master, you know.
What if I use seriously?
Sorry, darling. Can't stop now.
Oh, you're just about to...
Are these the ones, Mrs. Topham?
Oh, yes, they're the ones. Thank you, Ethel.
Husbands Galore. Oh, that was a lovely book.
Oh, Ethel, why do we ever get married? Men are the end.
Oh, I think they're lovely. I do, really, honest, I do.
Well, you try living with 3.
Oh, what a thing to say, Mrs. Topham. Not 3.
You can't train a husband in the middle of his family. It's bad for discipline. I tell you, if I have to live with them all much longer, I'll run amok.
You'd never.
I will. I'll put old Topham in the coal cellar, middle Topham in the dog kennel, and young Topham... Where shall I put Basil?
I don't know, I'm sure.
Neither do I.
Now, look here, Mrs. Topham, you shouldn't take on so. Perhaps your husband needs a hobby. Now, take my bird. As soon as he leaves the railway, off he goes with his gun and gets a nice bird for the table.
Oh, does he? Where does he shoot them?
I don't know, I'm sure. Ask no questions, hear no lies. That's what I always say.
Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Honeycroft.
Have you a copy of the history of the Dunmow Flitch? We had one at the vicarage, and my brother simply cannot find it anywhere. Ah, thank you. My brother and I just want to refresh our memories before the meeting.
Oh, yes, I believe Basil's mother's going, too.
I'm sure she is. But we old war horses still pull our weight, you know. Well, I must be running along. The meeting's starting any minute now. Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Honeycroft.
She gives me the needle. She does really.
Oh, Ethel.
That'll be all right with the inspector if it's all right with Colonel Hobbs.
It's agreed that we ask Colonel Hobbs for the use of the ground as usual. Right, and that's settled. Now, may we have a few words with the vicar?
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. I think, first of all, we should remind ourselves of the essence of this ancient custom. I quote, "He that repents him not of his marriage in a year and a day, either sleeping or waking, may lawfully go to Dunmow and fetch a gammon of bacon."
I'd like to see him try these days. He'd get 6 months.
A good point. I have it covered, though. The Ministry of Food informs me that the bacon is on its way from New Zealand.
Oh, that's splendid.
Now, marriages, when all is said and done, are made in heaven. And I...
Thank you, Vicar. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now that Mr. Honeycroft has said all he has to say, let's get on with the doing.
That's right.
Sergeant Mann, when it arrives, you'll take it into safe custody at the police station.
Oh, no. Custom dictates that it should be kept at the vicarage.
And common sense dictates it should be kept at the police station.
Are you suggesting that we are not to be trusted with the care of the...
Of course not, Miss Honeycroft. I'm sure our chairman was only trying to save you any inconvenience.
Very well, then, Vicar. But you'll be responsible. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it seems we've got a flitch. All we need now is a judge, a counsel for the claimants, and a counsel for the bacon.
Oh, if I may say so, I think we ought to appoint them now.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, any suggestions?
I propose Mr. Grimes for the judge.
Here, 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 here.
Unanimous.
Well, I'll do my best.
I should be quite willing to be counsel for the bacon.
Agreed. Agreed.
And as counsel for the claimants, I propose a lady whom we all respect and admire.
I'm afraid I couldn't cope, but I'm sure my husband would love to do it.
Good. Unanimous.
What about the couples? They're the most important, aren't they?
This year, none has come forward. It's most disturbing.
I doubt there's many's qualified, Vicar.
Come on, there's no need to indulge in cynicism. All they need is a lead.
Surely it should be easy enough to find one couple.
Well, if Mrs. Topham thinks it so easy, I put it to the vote that Mrs. Topham be given the privilege of finding one.
Yes, indeed. Only yesterday, Roosevelt was saying that these days you bestrode the narrow Dunmow world like a colossus. Speaking socially, of course.
I second that.
Agreed.
They're open. Right.
And I declare this meeting closed.
I think that's
Yes, they are. I mean, it's getting very much...
Topham?
Yes?
Oh, then I am for you.
What? Are you? I say.
The agency has told me that there would be a meeting.
Good old agency.
Then it's you I'm looking for.
Rather, yeah. Are you the man from Hungary?
You didn't think to see me here?
Well, yes and no.
Oh, we do not stay here, do we?
Oh, rather not, no. It's far too noisy. You must be hungry.
Oh, I am ravished.
Well, now, hold on.
Hello? Basil? What's the matter? What do you mean she's ravished?
You know, Mother, she's famished, hungry, peckish. She needs building up. A little.
Hello? Basil? Hello?
Let's go and eat.
Yes.
I think we can probably get a table in here.
In Budapest we have the Ritz. Do you have one here? Would you please look after the porter?
Where to, sir? The Ritz. Wasn't a very good photograph you sent from Hungary. I suppose all the photographs out there are mass-produced, what?
It was not I.
No, say it wasn't.
It was my maid.
Your maid?
I could not get a job in England when I used to send my photograph.
You couldn't? That's funny. I just thought the people would have snapped you up.
That is what the wives thought. Their husbands, you know. So I sent that.
So you have a maid?
In Budapest, just one. But in the country, more. Yes, up till 1939, we had 15.
15, by Jove, a rugger team.
Please?
No, don't worry. You were saying that in the country.
Yes, at my Schloss.
What do you want?
At my castle.
Oh, castle, yes.
That was my home.
Home? Yes, waiter.
Do you have a Schloss?
No, not a Schloss, but just a home. Waiter.
Oh, do sit down, dear.
Look, Marjorie, it doesn't take 3 hours to eat a sandwich at Victoria. They must have had an accident. We ought to ring the police.
I thought it was usually the other way round, with the police ringing us up.
Much cheaper if they do.
Oh, you're all so beastly. Basil's never been as late as this before.
Perhaps you quarreled.
You haven't? At least not much, only a little, around the house. What can they be doing?
Don't worry, Julie. I expect they're making a meal of it.
In Hungary, they probably suffer from the lack of fats.
Sounds just the sort of place for you, my dear.
Now, don't be ridiculous, Aubrey. There's all the difference in the world between dieting and not eating enough.
Not to the casual observer, old girl.
Oh, how do you do? I hope you had a pleasant journey. Please? Would you like to see your room? Please. You must be very hungry. We have left some soup and salad in the kitchen.
Oh, no. We have already dined.
You've dined.
Well, if you can call it that.
What else would you like to call it?
We have dined at the Ritz. It was so kind of Mr. Basil. Or, should I call him Master Basil?
No, we gave that up some weeks ago.
Do come and see your room, please. Well, here we are.
Mrs. Topham, I understand English.
Oh, it's small, of course, but then I always like small rooms.
Please, do not let me take it from you then.
Oh, no, I have another one. My husband takes up so much room. Dear Nellie, she was very happy here for 20 years, until she joined the ATS. Then she became a little strange. How funny. Nellie must have fought against you, so to speak. Oh, dear, what a small world it is. Well, that's the room.
It is not pretty, no, but it is clean. It will be beautiful.
I love beauty. I must have beauty round me. Without beauty, life is nothing, as we say in Hungary.
Oh, do we? Do you? Well, I hope you will be comfortable. The house is quite labor-saving, but it was too much for me to cope with alone. Of course, my husband and son did their best, but men are so useless, don't you think? Well, now, here is the daily program. First thing, the kitchen boiler. It's simple enough to clean and never gives a moment's trouble.
Now, you see what I mean? The main thing is to keep this thing sort of...
Good morning.
Oh, good morning. I was just showing her how.
Good idea.
Well, don't just stand there gawking. If you want help, go and get some Coke. Now, with regard to this gas poker,
What happened? Hello, Mother. There's nothing in it, you know. Rather like a lawnmower. Push it forward and... Just let me show you with the ash, yeah? Don't you have these things in Hungary?
No.
Really? Oh, we can't get on without him here.
Goodbye, dear.
You have just heard a talk on Mangelwurzels by Mr. Jack Blackman.
Oh.
Oh, there you are, darling. She's never seen anything like this before.
Neither have I.
No.
well, that really was something. Do you know how I stood Nellie's cooking for 20 years? I don't know. I must have a cast-iron stomach.
You probably have, Father.
It's not only the cooking, my boy. Food isn't everything. It's the whole caboodle. Look at the house. It looks wonderful. Do you know she even polished the silver band around my umbrella handle this morning? The initials stood out wonderfully. S.T.
I thought your name was Aubrey.
I found it in an underground in 1929.
You ought to give it back to the Lost Property Office.
Hardly worth it. The fellow would have given up looking for it by now.
As for my shoes...
Pinching?
No, shining. Shining like the sun on a car windscreen on the downs in August.
Steady on, Father.
Wonderful. You know, you're a very lucky woman, Marjorie.
I'm not so sure. It makes it very difficult to diet. I've got 6 more pounds to lose before August bank holiday.
My days, we kept our skeletons in the cupboard. Now they're all over the house.
Well, I must be going. It's the drama group tonight. Why don't you come, Marjorie?
Julie, you know Mother resigned the year Honeycroft asked her to play Falstaff. Do you mind if I come along instead?
Well, really, Basil, the vicar told me you were quite rude to him the other day when he asked you to join.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I've had a bit of conscience about that, so I thought I'd go along tonight and put things right.
How nice of you, dear Basil.
Oh, it's nothing at all. As a matter of fact, I thought I'd make it up to the vicar in a big way. So I persuaded Martha to join. She's very keen on acting.
I quite agree. She never stops.
I thought we ought to go on tonight and show her the way to the hall, as it's her first night off.
You could draw her a map.
Apparently they're crazy on acting in Hungary. It's sort of second nature to them. Instead of bridge or bebop, they just clap on the old grease paint and tear off a play.
You seem to have been raising the Iron Curtain in a big way.
Broadens the mind, you know. What do they know of England who only England knows? No?
You're wasted on the stock exchange.
What is the matter, dears? You're always bickering. I'm sure the food must be too rich. Game every day. I can't think where she gets it from.
You're quite right, my dear. I have dreadful indigestion. I think I'll take a walk. I'll stroll along with them. I shall have a chat with the vicar. I haven't seen him for years. He's a nice fellow. People must be nice to him, you know. They're not nice enough to vicars, really.
Your stars, how beautiful they are.
They're yours too now, you know.
Sorry, darling.
How strange it is to think those stars are shining down on Hungary.
They may not be. It may be cloudy there.
Oh, it must not be. I like to think the stars are shining down upon the villages, upon my Schloss.
That's the Star of Venus there, low down.
Maybe she has been naughty and she has fallen down.
Nice thought, eh? Ah, Vicar, how are you?
Ah, Julie, so you've persuaded Basil to attend at last.
Oh, yes, Julie's most persuasive.
And Mr. Topham, too. Don't tell me you've persuaded him to attend as well.
Yes. Anything to help?
That's what I like to hear, enthusiasm. Julie, I believe you'd play Hamlet if you thought it would help.
Well, I'd have a crack at it.
Or Romeo.
And who is this?
Ah, yes.
Oh, this is Marta. She's from Hungary, our help. She helps us all along.
From Hungary? Oh, poor child, poor innocent child. We will protect you here. In England, one need have no fears.
Hedworth!
Excuse me.
What's the matter, Marjorie?
A face, a man, a criminal.
There's nobody there? Must have been the moon.
Leaving me all alone, I might have been murdered in my bed.
Yes, but you weren't in your bed, my dear.
You spend all day at the office and then come back here and go straight out again. I never see you.
Yes, and when you do, you tell me I'm too fat.
Oh, Aubrey, what do you want to go to the drama group for? You've never been before.
Oh, well, I just thought I'd look in. I've always been interested in the drama.
How ridiculous at your age.
What do you mean ridiculous?
Oh, Aubrey, you're making me unhappy. I believe I'm losing weight.
That ought to make you happy.
Yes, and then I'll put it on again.
Well, I'll tell you why I went. I didn't want to worry you with it before, but I went to keep an eye on Basil.
An eye on Basil?
Yes, if you ask me, he's paying too much attention to that little maid. Poor child. Poor lonely child.
And another thing. I think it's disgusting the way Honeycroft's given her the lead right away. Took me a whole year of coming on asking who's for a game of tennis before I even had a small part.
But, darling, how would you like it if you were all alone in Hungary, taken by your kind employers to the local drama group in Bonsk?
Where?
Bonsk, southeast of Budapest. Wouldn't you expect the local vicar to give you a lead just to keep you cheerful?
No, I wouldn't. Not unless I was... Well, not unless I was...
Not unless you were what?
Not unless I was good.
But who says Martha isn't good? I'm sure she's good. I'm sure she's very good. Darling.
My pins.
Think of the poor little girl. Almost a child, alone.
Alone. Not for long. Not her.
Think of it, darling. A stranger in a strange land. Young, beautiful. A beautiful home she's had to leave behind. Darling, don't be jealous. Let her have a little bit of fun. It's not like you to be jealous, Julie. Oh, darling, a pin right in my ear.
Oh.
Well, anyway, Mother's very pleased about Martha.
Oh, Mother's pleased, is she?
Here you are, a surprise.
What's this?
This is hot milk.
Hot milk?
But it is good for you.
You must be thinking of someone else.
I think you need the looking after.
I had the looking after from my late wife for 50 years. I'm just beginning to get over it. You give that back to the cow in the morning.
Oh.
Aubrey, don't you think that we...
Why don't you go to sleep, my dear?
I'm so worried about Basil.
Oh, it'll keep until morning. I hope. Anyway, there's nothing wrong in liking a pretty face.
Do you think she's very pretty?
No, my dear, but, well, I'm older than Basil. Still, I must say She catches the eye.
The flitch.
It's not her fault she's pretty, Marjorie.
The flitch, I got it. The vicar wanted me to think of somebody to enter for the flitch trial. I'll enter Basil and Julie.
For heaven's sake, why?
You have to prove in public that you've had domestic bliss for a year. Yes, that'll keep him out of trouble. Aubrey. Aubrey, are you asleep?
No, my dear, no. I was just thinking of the flitch.
Don't worry, dear. I'll tell the vicar at the square dancing tomorrow night.
Square dancing? That's all I need. Oh.
Now circle 6 like you always do. Take that basket when eggs don't do. Pick them up and circle 8. Hurry up, Grandma, you'll be late. Inside out, toes in the stream, dishing a trout. Oh, no. Now circle 8 and round you go. You won't go to heaven if you carry on so.
Lemonade?
Yes, please.
2, please.
How is our little refugee?
Oh, everybody is so kind to me.
Oh, a wonderful girl, Vicar, a wonderful girl.
It's a pleasure to sit down to meals now, Vicar.
Oh, you're so kind. It's so lovely here. So happy in your country. It's all so beautiful. I sometimes wish to cry. Of course, things are so different for me now. I would be so excited on this day at home.
Why especially today?
Because it's my birthday, Father.
I say, really?
What a coincidence.
Any happy returns of the day.
Please?
May you have very many more happy birthdays.
I'll bet you...
I bet you haven't had many yet.
I shall never forget my 21st birthday. It was wonderful. On this day, our people came from all over the estate. They brought me presents. Fruit and flowers and vegetables. Simple things, you understand, but very touching. The good Father Kanyinsky would bring me those whom he deemed worthy of our charity. And he would help me to distribute golden pieces from my treasury.
Sausage roll, Hedworth.
And then before lunch, a gallop over the steppes with the captain of my guard, a gallant soldier and a perfect gentleman. He would have died for me. He was an autocrat, but not unkind. would ride across the unknown plain to a lonely spot beneath a tree. There I would take a glass of golden wine, protected from the bandits by the captain of my guard.
Like some mustard on it?
No, thank you, dear.
And then at night, my birthday party. The wild throbbing of the balalaikas. Wine and laughter. By my side, the young Count Slavak, whose estate was next to mine, 200 miles away.
Clumsy dear. Hedworth, are you going to make this announcement or are you not? The dance is nearly over.
And in the good old days, we danced till 5.
And then they galloped through the steppes till dawn.
A very fine little girl, Rosabelle. Generous and charitable.
Hedworth.
Oh, yes. May I have your attention, please? I should just like to remind you all that next week, on the same day as the Flitch trial and the annual fair and circus, we have our church bazaar. I do hope you'll all collect what you can for my sister's white elephant stall.
Yes, dear, all the stuff you bought from it last year.
Just bring them along to the vicarage and my sister will tell you what to do with them. Once again, the bishop will grace the occasion with his presence, so all hands to the pump and maximum effort, everybody. Bring the fair to the fair. And now I have great pleasure in announcing that the couple entering for this year's Flitch trial are our popular young marrieds, Basil and Julie Topham.
On with the dance, the Kokomo wheel.
Honor your partners.
I think you might have told him.
I thought it was a father's job.
No, you did. Well, tonight's Mother's Night.
I think it's scandalous.
What is, my dear?
Like mother, like son, that Topham boy pushing himself forward.
Brother.
Basil, people are looking. I quite forgot to tell you, Basil. I'm so glad you aren't angry.
Would you be angry if I entered you to swim the channel?
That would be silly. I can't swim.
Well, I can't flitch.
How could you, without even telling us?
It wasn't me.
You Topham men are all alike, weak as water.
What is the good of trying to argue with Marjorie?
Basil's being very difficult.
Yes, well, they've flitched without us for 200 years, and they can flitch without us for another 200.
They can't. You're the only entrance.
Father, you keep out of this. I won't go through with it.
You must. If you refuse, the whole village will assume that you and Julie don't get on.
Would you do it?
That's not the point.
Would you, Father?
You told me to keep out of this.
Of course your father would. He's going to be your counsel.
What?
You see, aggression always spreads if you're weak.
Yes, well, I'm not playing.
But Basil, you must. The posters will be printed tomorrow. Mr. Grimes has arranged it all.
Oh, has he? Yes, well, I'll go and stop him then.
Basil, no, don't be silly. He'll be having supper now.
Yes, and I know what he's having, too.
Oh, Mr. Grimes, what a thirst.
Mr. Grimes, excuse me, please. I'd like a word with you.
I know. We've been slow, but I'm setting the boys on overtime next week. Well, I've got the bricks you wanted to. Come down in the morning and choose. Bring the missus. I'd like you to have the colour you want.
Well, that's very kind of you.
Oh, don't mention it. Well, the moment I heard, I said, there's a couple I'd like to work for. It'd be a pleasure to build a house for a couple who are unselfish enough to want to set our young people an example.
Yeah. They sound all right. Who's the couple?
Just you to have your little joke. I was only saying to Mrs. Grimes, there's a couple that deserve to win the Flitch.
You did.
Yes. It's nice to think I'm building a house for the winner of the Flitch. I says, I'll give 'em overtime. I mean, if you're serving the community, it's up to the community to serve you. Mr. Basil, if you win that Flitch, I'll have you in your house by Christmas.
You will? I say, have another. No, don't worry about beer. Emmy, 2 double scotches, please.
If you ask me, it's plain disgraceful. You should have to come forward because the locals are too lapsadaisical.
If you ask me, Mrs. Jenkins, I think it's utterly disgraceful that our local couples, just because of their natural diffidence, should be shouldered aside by these newcomers from the town.
Well, that's what I'm always saying to my bird.
Indeed. Well, I feel that you should enter for the Flitch and keep the flag of Dunmow flying. That's what I feel.
I'm always telling Bert that's what I feel.
Then in that case, I'm sure you will allow me to put down your names.
Oh, what a scream.
Steady, Ethel. Miss Honeycroft, much as I'd like to, but it's not as if it's just Bert Jenkins being entered. That'll be all right. But now I'm nationalised, you'd be entering the British Railways, so to speak.
Well, I'm sure they'd appreciate the Flitch.
The passengers would anyway.
Yeah, easy, Ethel, easy.